Hey now, it's Alexandra No I, and I am talking about Insecure season 5, episode 7. And the title of the episode escapes me right now, but it is episode 7, which is to say that we are even closer to the end of this final season of this phenomenal show. And the central theme is, girls' night, right? And before I get any further, because I'm realizing that I just kind of dove in there. But if you are brand new here, welcome and thank you so much for checking me out. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. This is a more of a reflection than a recap based on themes that are presented in the episode. I am assuming that you've already watched the episode, so there may be spoilers. If you are not yet prepared to hear them, make sure to check out the episode first and come back later. So, this entire episode, in terms of where girls' night occurs, is in Issa's apartment. So we're already just on the strength of that, we see how far we've come. When we first met Issa, she wasn't living alone. She was living with Lawrence. They were in their relationship. And then she was staying with Daniel. And so the fact that she has her own space, that she's personalized to make it her own, and she's able to have company, this is a big difference from the Issa D that we met, at 5 seasons ago. And the plan is that they're going to, pregame a little bit, go get a group massage, and go out to dinner. Issa has rolled up a little something for them. And so they're partaking in that. They're starting to sip a little bit and they're catching up. It's been a while since they've all been together. They may not have even all been together since the reunion, actually. And it got me to thinking about that, friend circle phenomenon. You see it in shows because it happens so much in real life. And I was thinking to myself, well, I I have a circle of friends, but not a friend group in that sense of, you know, more than two of us, where we all know each other and we all have a shared relationship in addition to any individual relationships we may have. And so we see that here because we know that Molly and Issa are, best friends, and that Kelly and Tiffany are also, very close one-on-one, but they also have this shared dynamic as a group, which of course is entertaining for us to watch. Kelly is still not drinking. And, she's still her fun loving self, but there are just different ways in which she's living more mindfully. Tiffany even seems to let her hair down a little bit. I was wondering when everyone was smoking, was she going to be smoking too? And as a matter of fact, she was. So that was interesting. They found out that unfortunately the spa had a plumbing issue, so their massages got canceled. And so they decided to play questions in the hat. And we've seen them play that before, but it's been quite some time. And it just really made me think about like slumber parties in general, or just anything that serves as a catalyst for you to get to know people, even people you consider yourself to know very well, but you can always get to know them a little deeper. So it was fun to watch that. And the girls get to see that, there's a little more energy between Molly and Torian than there once was. They learn about the friction between Nathan and Issa, who it seems may not have really talked since the last time we saw them. And Then later, we see or learn rather that Tiffany and Derek may be moving away. And you have to remember that these women are in their early, entering into their mid 30s. We met them when they were turning 30. And now it's only been like 2, 3 years. They haven't been aging at the same rate that we have, right? Uh, Nathan, I'm sorry, Issa and Lawrence have only been broken up for maybe 2 to 3 years now. So at this point, they're like 33-ish, maybe 34. So these are very much millennials, which is to say that while they have established their careers, and Issa's in the process of establishing her career, but while they've established their careers, they're still willing to make moves to take it to the next level, where if they had been Generation X, they wouldn't necessarily be as quick to make those sort of moves. For us, a lot of us were raised that you want your resume to be one page and you want to show longevity at a company and all these things. But folks aren't doing that anymore, especially not millennials and younger. So it is now the case that Derek has this opportunity, and Tiffany, being the supportive wife, and she laid out the logic. He has family out there. This opportunity is excellent. The cost of living, well, she didn't say this, but I know that the cost of living in Denver is definitely lower than it is in Los Angeles. But she's also concerned because while it looks good on paper, she also knows that if they have more kids, if it is anything like it was for her the last time, she'll need her tribe. And they assure her that they can be on the next flight out whenever it's necessary. So, of course, that's reassuring for her. And we know cognitively that as our friends do have life changes, because that's a very real part of life, especially in your 30s and 40s. You have the friends who are getting married and having kids. And so this is a prime example of how, even though you started together, your lives can move in different directions. And that doesn't negate the love, but it does mean that things may not always look the same way they did. Being able to zip down the street or, shoot across town to spend time is entirely different from having to coordinate and take time off and buy a plane ticket and get a rental car and all these different things that come into play when you have friendships that cross state lines. And even, as I was thinking about the concept of friend groups, I don't live where I grew up. So I have friends in Los Angeles. I have friends in Texas. I have friends in different parts of the country. And if I were to relocate again, then I'd have yet more scenarios like what they're talking about, where in order to see close friends, I'd have to hop on a plane as opposed to be able to drive down the street. So that's what makes this show so good, is that it's relatable and it's real, And so they're drinking and they're smoking and they're snacking, and they decide to skip the dinner reservation and just continue to spend this quality time, which of course means they can wear comfy clothes and just because yes, getting cute to go out is great, but there is nothing like soft pants, says the 40-year-old. But Issa, so one of the questions, and it's so funny, one of the questions that came up was, of the friend circle, who is like the most attractive ex? And if no one had said Daniel, I would have said, I know y'all lying, because Daniel was fine. And yes, he absolutely came up in this conversation. Another ex was brought up. I don't know if he's someone we met. But yes, Daniel, he he's one of the people that, the internet has been wondering, will he have occasion to pop up in this season? At this point, Probably not, would be my guess. There's not really a need for him to pop back up. Just we would like to see him. And meanwhile, across town, Lawrence has brought Isaiah home from, an overnight. So we see they've made a lot of progress too. Lawrence and Condola, she does trust him to, have Isaiah spend over. And they are very much in a better place. They're civil. I don't know that I'm reading romantic or sexual chemistry. I think it's just more an appreciation at this point of the progress they've made and just their appreciation of each other as co-parents to this child. Of course, that line can be thin and it can be blurry, but at this point, at least on Lawrence's side, I don't think he has a desire to rekindle. I'm not as sure with Condola. Of course, we don't know her as well. And I think the way that women are socialized in particular, that concept of what it means to be a family can be so ingrained in us that even when it's not logical, it can be very easy to think, well, if I can tolerate him, then we should just get back together so we can be a family. And I don't necessarily think that's the best move for them. I think this respectful and appreciative friendship is ideal. But of course, we shall see. But back at the sleepover, we see that Issa is assuming they're together. And at a glance, I suppose there's no reason for her not to think that. When she saw them, they were together. But they weren't giving couple energy, girl. But a lot of times it's easier to assume than to exercise logic. And of course, we also don't want her further scrolling his timeline to try to investigate the situation. But in her drunkenness and being in touch with her feelings through this game, she does start to call him, and Molly talks her out of it, but we heard the phone ringing, so I already knew, Lord, he gonna see the missed call and ain't no telling. And sure enough, he saw the missed call and ain't no telling. But also, the next morning after everyone has left, Nathan calls Issa and he apologizes and he verbalizes that, yes, he does love her. He's always loved her. And he knows that he is avoidant and so he is self-aware, and the girls' night gave Issa an opportunity to be self-aware because her friends had to let her know, girl, yes, you are inconsistent. And sometimes you have to hear it from your friends, or even sometimes you have to hear it more than once for it to really sink in. And it's so interesting that because now that Issa and Molly are back good, Molly was able to deliver that feedback with compassion and concern, and Issa was able to receive it. Where when they were butting heads, when they would try to give each other feedback, it was delivered in a cutting way at times. And of course, it was received in a negative way. So that's, more reinforcement of the fact that they are in this exponentially better space. So as we hear that conversation, it does sound like, okay, y'all are, on track. But the next call that she gets is from Lawrence, in theory, because he saw that missed call. And of course, that is going to muddy the waters because I don't know about you. And I won't even say this is true for me, but we see, be it on TV or in real life, a lot of times when people seek out closure, all it does is, well, it does open some things, but it also opens up the door to more confusion a lot of the time. So we shall see. Will the next episode pick up right where we're leaving off, or will it be another one that's further in the story and then we kind of have to backtrack? So we will definitely see. But yeah, that countdown is just moving right along. 10 episodes this season. This was episode 7. So we have 3 more to go, y'all. But yeah, it's still, I think very well done. This isn't the type of show where I think we'll get a cliffhanger or necessarily a happily ever after, because it is so based in reality. I would like to think it might be something like this past season of Queen Sugar, where it's not everything's in a neat and tidy bow, or it has to be super dramatic. I would love to see it kind of just like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can roll with that. But it's TV. TV loves a plot twist. But what did you think? Please hop down in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.